Listen, I've got some developing news for you here. The Home Office will seek to appeal against the High Court's refusal to allow it to intervene in a case of a hotel used to house asylum seekers in Epping. This according to Security Minister Dan Jarvis. That's right, the Home Office are going to appeal against the High Court's refusal to allow it to intervene in a case. So this is the authorities, the judiciary, the Home Office, the civil servants, the blob, who are quite demonstrably working against people power, working against the will of the people, who don't want these hotels used to accommodate asylum seekers, illegal migrants. And someone that feels very passionately about that is Sarah White. And she is a mother. She is an Epping Forest resident and a local campaigner. And she joins me now. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, and I'm very grateful that you've joined us because I really want to hear from folk on the ground. Can I ask you, first of all, Sarah, why you are so concerned about this issue of asylum seekers accommodated in hotels?
Well, I'm concerned about all of the hotels, but in particular, the one in Epping is so close to a secondary school. And, you know, that is a main concern for us in Epping. And as we have seen from recent events, that these men do harass young women and children, and it's totally unacceptable. They've got totally different morals to us. I've said this before, you know, they don't land on British soil and all of a sudden have the morals of somebody who has been born and bred here.
Yeah, and of course, it won't be every single one of them, will it? Obviously, they've broken the law by entering the country illegally, which I think is completely unacceptable. And I'm guessing you wouldn't say that 100% of the individuals in these hotels is some kind of predator in waiting. But enough are, and even if it's one, it would be one too many.
100%. And, you know, it'd be silly of me or anybody else to say that every single person that comes here undocumented is a criminal. However, we don't know who they are. Yeah. And they've dropped their papers. They could have booked a flight here for, say, £50 to £200, come here legally, provided their papers, and we would know who they are. And then they could claim asylum. You know, to come here and break into the country, we don't know who they are, and they purposely get rid of their papers, and that is a major concern.
Have you paid a personal price for the campaign that you've been participating in? Because we know that there are sections of the media that would have you down as far right or something, even though you're a concerned mother.
Yeah, I mean, the label far right is thrown about too easily these days. However, I'm glad to see that the left are being called out a lot more than, say, 4 or 5 years ago. And, you know, yes, we've all paid a price because we've given up our spare time to be with our families and go away. We're in Epping 2 evenings every single week. And not only that, we meet to also organise future events. You know, and that is time consuming, but we do it because we're very passionate about our community. And that is it at the end of the day. I've had people get in touch with me saying, what's your real motive? What are you really here for? I'm here because I'm a concerned mother and I'm concerned about everybody up and down the country. And that is it.
How do you feel about being given a political label?
To be honest, if people want to label me and say it's got to do with it's political, it's nothing political at all. This is what's right and what's wrong, and I know the difference between right and wrong. Yeah. And that is what I have to stand up for. And I believe that everybody in this country needs to stand up for what's right. Enough is enough now, and there are too many crimes being committed by these people that are coming here illegally, and at the end of the day, it needs to be stopped.
And it's not just crimes, is it? It's low-level harassment, stares, wolf whistles, and just a feeling of vulnerability among women and children.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's a fundamental right to feel safe in your community. The reason why we can walk the streets safely is because of development over centuries. Yeah. People have evolved and we are upstanding citizens. Yes, we do have crime in our country committed by our own people, but why do we have to have extra people coming here and committing crimes as well.
I completely agree with you. That's the point. And people often suggest, you know, there are sexual assaults from UK nationals. Of course there are. But if something of that nature happens from someone that's entered the country illegally, then it's an assault, a crime that could have been prevented, that it shouldn't have happened, because what we've done is imported a criminal rather than had to deal with the criminals that already are on our shores. Sarah, the Home Office are going to seek to appeal against the High Court's refusal to allow it to intervene in the case of this hotel being used, the Bell Hotel in Epping. Your reaction to that the Home Office are trying to reinstate this place as a venue for migrants?
Well, to be honest with you, we all knew that this would happen. We, the people of Epping, understood that the Home Office would 100% put in an appeal for this. They wasn't going to see this as a victory for the people of Great Britain, because basically this will create a domino effect. And we know that peaceful protests do work, and I think that the rest of the country are seeing how well we coped in Epping and that we managed to achieve this. So the Home Office are obviously scared now, because what are they going to do with all of these people that are being housed in these so-called hotels? They are no longer hotels. People are being able to stay there for free. And if the government actually cared about stopping these people coming into our country, they could, instead of having the police in their hundreds at Epping, they could send them to our shores and stop these men as soon as they land on British soil.
They should definitely do that. Sarah, before I let you go, are you worried that these peaceful and important protests that I support 110%, are you worried that they'll be hijacked by radical activists on the left and potentially the right as well? Yeah,
I know. We have seen in the first couple of protests at Epping, they was hijacked. There wasn't too much, it wasn't violent, but there was some signs of aggression. And we said that there was no place for that in Epping. And the people, and they was the left and they was Antifa, but they never came back again. And I think as long as you keep peaceful, we can achieve as a country to close all of these hotels down. But in saying that, I don't want these undocumented men then being dispersed and put into Airbnbs. We can't have that, because at the moment in the hotels, we know where they are. At least they're in one venue in each community. They need to be taken to a detention centre. There needs to be a curfew in place. They can't be let out to roam the streets until we know who they are.
Common sense. Sarah, more power to you, and thank you for speaking so well and being so courageous, and you know, I think definitively the most important conversation that we've had in the last 3 hours. Sarah White, Epping Forest resident and local campaigner.